Hey guys, welcome to Seed, Soil, Water. My name is Brittany Sunshyne, and I am stoked to go through Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. This book really helped put my life on a new trajectory, and it's so fire. I'm excited to read it again, and we're going to do it together. So let's get started. We're going to go ahead and jump right into part one, the science of you. Okay, the quantum you. Ooh. Early physicists divided the world into matter and thought. And then later, they called it matter and energy. Each member of those pairs was considered to be entirely separate from the other, but they're actually not. Nevertheless, this mind-matter duality shaped our early worldview, that reality was essentially predetermined and that people could do very little to change things through their own actions, let alone their thoughts. Fast forward to our current understanding that we are part of this vast, invisible field of energy, which contains all possible realities. What? Which contains all possible realities. And it responds to our thoughts and our feelings. That's the key right there. It responds to our thoughts and our feelings. For me, that's like a huge issue because I am like, well, what about when I'm feeling things that I don't want to feel, but I feel them and maybe they feel out of my control? How the heck do I, as the word writes it, take my thoughts captive and align them with the knowledge of salvation itself? Well, then we have to dig into, well, what is salvation? And what is it? What are we promised? What should we expect? I'm getting ahead of myself. Just as today's scientists are exploring the relationship between thought and matter, we are eager to do the same in our own lives. And so we ask ourselves, can I really use my mind to create my reality? If so, is that a skill that we can learn and use to become who we want to be and create the life that we want to experience? Let's find out. Let's face it, none of us is perfect. Whether we'd like to make some changes to our physical self, our emotional self, our spiritual self, we all have the same desire. We want to live the life as an idealized version of who we think and believe that we can be. When we stand in front of the mirror and look at our love handles, we don't just see the slightly too pudgy vision reflected in the glass. We also see, depending on our mood that day, a slimmer, fitter version of ourselves, or the heavier, chunkier version. Which of the images is real? The one that you see that you have a slight optimism toward, the one that is actually what it is, or the one that you have a pessimism toward? Which one's real? When we lie in bed at night, reviewing our day and our efforts to be a more tolerant, less reactive person, hashtag parenting, we don't just see the parent who lashed out at our child. Oh, I already knew where he was going with this. We don't just see the parent who lashed out at our child for failing to quietly and quickly submit to a simple request. I have two under five, so yeah. I'm literally hearing myself yesterday say, I'm so tired of repeating myself. Why do I have to say it 1,000 times before you listen? One thing that really was is a reminder is there's an actual language barrier. There's an actual language barrier. They don't always know what we're saying. And then sometimes they do know what we're saying. Am I right? We envision either an angelic self whose patience was stretched like an innocent victim on the rack, or a hideous ogre laying waste to a child's self-esteem. Which of those images is real? Oh my gosh. So, such a good book already, and we haven't even gotten started. The answer is all of them are real, and not just those extremes, but an infinite spectrum of images ranging from positive to negative. How can that be? For you to understand why none of those versions of self is more or less real than the others, I'm going to have to shatter the outmoded understanding about the fundamental nature of reality and replace it with a new one. Please do. We need this. That sounds like a major undertaking, and in some ways it is, but I also know this. The most likely reason why you were drawn to this book is that your past efforts to make any lasting change in your life, physical, emotional, or spiritual, have fallen short of the ideal of yourself that you imagined. And why those efforts failed has more to do with your beliefs about why your life is the way it is than with anything else, including a perceived lack of will, time, courage, or imagination. Okay, so the reason that our life has not shook out, hasn't ended up being what we imagined or wanted it to be, the most ideal version of itself, is because it has way more to do with our beliefs about why our life didn't turn out this way than it has anything to do with some perceived lack of will, lack of time, courage, or imagination. Always, in order to change, we have to come to a new understanding of ourself and the world so that we can embrace new knowledge and have new experiences. That is what reading this book will do for you. This is amazing. Okay, that's the first one. I'm going to keep it short and we're going to keep going and join in for the next one. Okay, be blessed, be well, be free.